So, what if I told you that one single dinner could completely change the course of your life? It sounds kind of crazy, right? But that's the simple and honestly pretty shocking idea from the book Dining with Success. It's a powerful strategy for growth, and we're going to break down exactly how it's supposed to work. And there it is, the big claim, right at the start. Poor people should take rich people out to dinner and just listen. Whoa, that is a bold, provocative statement. I mean, it might even make you feel a little uncomfortable. But hang on, before you write it off, let's dig into the powerful principle that's hiding just underneath.
Which of course brings us to the real question here. Can one dinner, just a few hours of talking and watching, actually change anything? Well, according to this idea, the answer is a huge yes, but only if you know what you're looking for. See, it's not about the food, and it's definitely not about asking for a handout. It's about something way, way deeper.
And here's what that deeper thing is. The whole strategy is built on this one core belief: success leaves clues. Just think about that for a second. Success isn't some kind of random magical thing that just happens to a lucky few. No, it's a process. It's the result of certain mindsets, specific habits, and actions that you can actually observe, you can study, and you can learn from. This all comes down to what's called learning through association. You've probably heard the saying that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? Well, this is that idea in action. When you intentionally put yourself near successful people, you get a front row seat to their blueprint for success. You literally start to absorb how they think, the way they approach problems, even how they carry themselves. Okay, so let's get practical. Let's say you actually manage to get this dinner on the calendar. What do? Well, this brings us to the method, the art of observation. And the source material is super clear on this. The most valuable lessons aren't always in what people say. You have to become a detective of details. Here's the key. You've got to pay way less attention to the advice they give you and way more attention to their actual behavior. And why is that? Well, because people often give advice based on what they think they did to become successful. But their real secrets? Those are hidden in their subconscious actions, the things they do without even thinking. The real clues are in their character, not just their conversation. So, you've got to get really specific. Watch how they walk into a room. Is it with confidence, with purpose? Listen to how they talk. Are they clear? Are they concise? Notice how they shake your hand. Is it firm, engaging? These aren't just little details. They're the outward signs of an inner mindset. And you figure out how they think by asking really good questions, and then, this is the most important part, just shutting up and listening. All right, now for this to work, for any of this to actually stick, you have to show up with the right mindset. And this might be the most crucial piece of the entire puzzle. You cannot be a follower. You have to be a student. And the difference between those two things, well, it determines everything. Let me break it down. A follower sees a successful person's fancy car and says, I want that car. They just try to copy the what. But a student asks, what's the thinking, the discipline, the process that made that car possible in the first place? They're trying to understand the why. A follower just wants someone to give them the answer. A student is looking for the framework so they can find the answer themselves. You can't just admire the results, you have to study the process.
And this is really the whole point. You're not trying to become a carbon copy of someone else. Your life is different, your goals are different, your personality is your own. The whole point of this dinner is to pull out the principles, the frameworks, and the mindsets that you can then take and apply to your own unique path. You're a student, remember? Not a clone. And so, this whole big idea really comes down to one last very personal question for you. And remember, it doesn't have to be a literal dinner. It could be studying someone through their books or watching every interview they've ever done. The place doesn't matter, the mindset is everything. So, whose process, whose mindset, whose success will you start studying today?